Hello everyone, my name is Maria and this is Knitting as Therapy, my knitting podcast, episode number 5. And today we're gonna talk about some recent finished objects, works in progress that I currently have, and acquisitions and plans for the next several weeks. So let's start. My latest and the most noticeable finished objects for now is Celeste sweater by Petiteknit. I have finished this one probably during 1 month. I wanted to share with you some learnings that I have from this project, the yarn selection ideas and maybe color selection ideas as well. I have already shared some of my learnings and issues that I had before with this pattern while working on it. Of course, it's not the designer's fault, it's just my lack of knowledge in color works for sure, but generally I'm really happy that I have it finished already and I can wear it this year already, because there was a huge chance that I will finish it closer to the spring, and as this is 100% merino wool yarn, it could be a bit too hot. For example, now I'm heating a lot wearing this one for the video at home. I have made my sweater during the knit-along with other girls working on this project. We were discussing different yarns that people were using. Also, we were discussing some color selection issues, of course, because it's like the main part of the color work. For me, it's the hardest thing to do, to select the color for it. As I have already mentioned in my video with winter knitting plans that I had and general plans for the year, I wanted to get my knitting experience to the next level with color works. So that was like the first step to start Celeste sweater, of course, because it was one of the sweaters that I liked when I saw pictures of it. Also, I was really inspired when I saw finished Celeste sweater by Florence Miller. So I decided to make it in quite similar colors. So I will check some notes in my laptop to not miss like any details. It calls DK weight yarn. For the Petiteknit version, it was Peer Gynt in different colors without any additional mohair strand or something like this. Regular Peer Gynt. It's 100% wool, Norwegian wool, that has 90 meters per 50 grams. I know that for some people it's a bit too rustic, probably maybe itchy, taking into consideration that Celeste sweater has such a high neck. It may cause some issues related to using the 100% merino, not merino, 100% Norwegian wool. Also, I heard that Peer Gynt may be softer or like more rustic depending on the color that you use, or after blocking it softens a bit, and also after wearing it, so it's like it becomes softer after interacting with the yarn more and more. The pattern calls for 4mm needles for the stockinette, 4.5mm needles for the color work, to avoid some tension issues while using different colors, 3mm needles and 3.5mm needles, so lots of needles required for the overall project. I will add a video of me wearing this one, so you can see on the video that it's quite a wide sweater with a long, so the armholes are placed quite low, you know, not just under your arm, as sometimes happens with different sweaters. Also, the important thing that I wanted to highlight, that the pattern says that you should have like some amount of centimeters or inches when you are done with the color work. So it goes in the round for the color work, and then it says that you should have some amount of centimeters. Of course, it's a bit hard to evaluate the final measurement of this part because of the color work, because of the tension issues, but I have steamed mine, so it helped me. I have steamed and stretched it a bit to have the proper measurement, and I can say that it didn't change a lot after blocking, like the final blocking when I had my sweater done. Getting closer to the pattern construction, so it's done top down. We start with a tubular cast on the collar on 3mm needles. I have made my sweater with Sunday by Sandnesgarn. It's 100% non-superwash merino wool yarn, and I hold it double. Also, I have shared some details of the color selection in some previous episodes. I will link them to this video, so it will be easier for you to follow some more details about this pattern in general. So when you are done with the collar, there are some increases done in round. Quite easy thing to track, quite easy thing to do, even if you are like beginner for the color work in general. I can say that this pattern is quite beginner friendly if you are like experienced knitter but not so experienced with color work. And you just do increases in the round until you get some needed amount of stitches for the sleeves and the body parts. While working on the color work part, it's recommended to use bigger needles comparing to the stockinette. It's 4.5mm needles that I used as well. When you are doing color work in general, one of the main issues that you can have is tension. But to this pattern, there is connected video on Petiteknit's website with some recommendations how to avoid tension issues. That's a common problem. I also had the same one while my first try of color work of several years ago, and it just gets too tight, you know, if you don't have lots of experience with color work. So the main thing that you can do while working on the color work, and this pattern particularly, you should just stretch a bit these gaps where you are changing the colors all the time, and also try to twist yarn when you have these gaps consisting more than 3 stitches. It will help a lot to avoid like some long strands just hanging inside of your sweater, and you will also be able to avoid some tension issues, of course, because if you are, there are like two directions. You can have it too tight or you can have it too loose. Both cases are not okay, but to avoid this, you can stretch it a bit, of course, that is shown on that video by Petiteknit, and also you can use the proper length of your needles. That helps a lot. So at some period of your knitting of this round yoke, you will need probably like 120 centimeters total length of the needles to have the tension work well. Interesting thing as well that I would like to mention as an issue here is I put it was like 4.5mm needles for color work, and I decided to use a bit thicker tube for the yarn hole as a yarn holder for the sleeve, for one of the sleeves, and these stitches were too loose. Probably you can see it here on my sleeve that it is a bit like looser line, looser row of my stitches for one of the sleeves, but it blocked more or less fine, and also I expected to straight more while wearing, of course, because it's also like 100% merino wool. It will be longer while wearing more and more, and after each blocking, of course. Also, I stretched it a bit while blocking, so generally it's fine. Interesting thing that I noticed as well, it's when you are moving, when you are done with the color work, you are switching to smaller needles, to 4mm needles, for both sleeves and the body part, like the stockinette part of them. You can see that there is like some flare part on the sleeves, like this one here. It happens when you are done with the color work part and you are switching to the short rows before splitting the sleeves. There are quite huge amount of short rows, probably 4 centimeters or maybe more, depending on the size, of course. It gets almost to the front part of the sweater, and that's the thing I think that causes this flare part on the sleeves. So, but it's also more or less fine after blocking, I can say. And one more observation from this pattern is that it's quite short one. So when you get when you are done with the color work and get to the stockinette, you are a bit bored because there is nothing to track at all. You just going around and that's it, waiting for the ribbon to start. Also, it's quite a short part in the pattern in general. I've made the proper length for the S size, and I have a long torso, of course, I know it, but still, so if we are talking about the sleeves, I have noticed from the Petiteknit patterns, the sleeves are fine for me, taking into consideration the like expected amount of centimeters of growing after blocking. Sleeves are always fine, but for the body part it's like extremely short for me. And I can see on the pictures that Petiteknit added to her pattern, it still looks a bit too short for my taste. Oh, maybe one more thing should be added here, that's while switching the colors, because it's a decay weight yarn, it's quite thick one, and you have 4 different colors to change, and main color as well is there sometimes. So it's a bit hard to have them all like ready, twisted and ready, hold by some other yarn to work with it in the next row. So I just cut it and joined again when I needed this color of yarn. So I have lots of ends to weave in, and that's not like the funniest part of this pattern. And taking into consideration that I have added also some color work on the sleeves, I have some ends to weave in on the sleeves as well. But all of this additional color work layer adds a lot of warmth to this sweater, to be honest. I like it. So we can move to the next part. It's a color work selection, colors matching. There are some interesting ideas that I saw in the Ravelry in general, and that I saw in our chat for the knit-along too. Some people were, as I noticed, like the best solutions for my taste were something related to some browns that match fine with some yellow as well, with some bluish colors, with the purples as well. So anything you like, you can add there. The main idea is to have like two main shades that you want to focus on. And for example, in my case, it was lighter blue and darker blue, lighter brown and darker brown, and something between them to connect. So the most neutral one was marzipan shade for me as the main color. I've also seen the version made with another like main color for the collar and different color for the body, and it also looked really great. So a dark gray was used for the color, then the color work was done, and then some lighter color was used for the body. So it seems that Celeste sweater may be like a good option for using some yarn from your stash. I can also share some observations because I have some results of the yarn used for my sweater, but I will need to check some notes for sharing it. To highlight again, I was making mine using Sunday by Sandnesgarn, and a total amount of yarn for the main color was 321 grams. It was hold double, so it's approximately 755 meters if you will decide to go for double Sunday, for example, or you should double this amount if you are considering using Sunday by Sandnesgarn hold double. For the dark brown part, it was 46 meters. Camel or light brown that I used for it, it's 60 meters. Light blue is 50 meters, and dark navy blue was the least used, is 38 meters. I will add everything here in the description below, and also I will link my Ravelry page so you will be able to check it there as well, with some grams specified, with meters amount, everything you need, and maybe some clother photos that you can check for the final look of the sweater itself. Probably this is it for the Celeste sweater that I wanted to share today. Let me know if you are considering to make the same sweater, for example, or maybe you have already made one with a color work, not the Celeste sweater, something else probably. So let me know. Also, please follow for having more videos about my knitting journey this year using color work and some other projects as well, and sharing some knitting experiences with you. Also, don't forget to like this video if you find this knowledge and experience sharing, if you find it useful for you for the Celeste sweater. Maybe I hope it will make your work with this project much easier. That's why I decided to share it with you today. Yeah, so this is it, and we can move to the next finished object. So the next finished object that I wanted to share with you today, I've already mentioned in the previous episode that we are working on some unity blanket called тепловквадраті that we will use for a charity sale to help Ukraine and Ukrainian army probably, or some humanitarian needs. So we are just connected with other knitters, and we have a task to make several granny squares or any other squares, maybe knitted ones, to connect them and to sell this blanket as a charity project. I will mention all of the knitters, YouTube bloggers. Most of them are Ukrainian, but maybe you will find it interesting for you to check different knitting podcasts and they will also share some of their progress on this project. So the first one, it's a knitted square that I made using such beautiful sleeves ornament. This one is made with 50% cotton, 50% acrylic blend yarn, as you can see, in a blue color. And it's made using yarn art jeans yarn that previously I was using for the toys creation. Because it's like fluffy and nice, but still cotton basic yarn. The next one was with such a sunflower on it with a crochet. It was my first experience making granny squares, crocheted granny squares. One more in dark purple color and one more such yellow piece. So I am ready with my part of work for this project, and I am waiting for others to share theirs, because I saw some girls made like extremely beautiful squares. I'm not so experienced with knitting and like knitting the squares or crocheting especially, but I know some basics, and it helped me to join this interesting and great opportunity to work on such a huge project with other knitters. Now we can move to works in progress that I currently have to share with you today. You already may remember my Moby Slipover that I shared in the previous podcast, that I didn't have lots of progress on it, but I gathered all my strengths and patience to move a bit with this project. Yeah, so I think the body part should be almost done. This one is made with 100% superwash merino wool, hold with alpaca silk blend yarn, lace weight, of course, and on 3.5 millimeter needles. The only change I made here is just quite bigger armholes comparing to the pattern suggestion, because I think that I will wear it with some oversized shirts probably, so I will need it to be a bit wider. And yeah, that's not a lot of progress for now, but still I expect it to be maybe ready in the next podcast to share with you. I will do my best to finish it, of course, because it's laying on my needles like too long already, and I wanted to have it done for sure. Of course, I have shared previous Moby Slipovers that I made for my boyfriend, and I can wear it for sure if I need such a sleepover, but I love the color of mine a bit more, and my as well has some additional halo from the alpaca, so I want to have it done and to be able to wear my own sleepover as soon as possible. This is it for the Moby Slipover that I can share about today. And the next project that I have, that's a color work. That's a test knit for Kutova Kika or Veronica Lindberg here in YouTube, and she opened a test call for a color work sweater testing. Of course, I was ready for it. I have already participated in one of test knits for her project. It was Pride and Pearls cardigan that I like extremely love and wear it a lot. It's very nice and very original design, so I jumped in as soon as I noticed that she has at this test call, especially taking into consideration that this one is made on big needle size, so it just flies. The main thing that needs to be done before starting it was color selection. So we were free to select any colors that we want for the sweater. As I decided to go with same yarn that's like really similar to Drops Air, it's Gazal Alpaca Air yarn. It has, I can show it to you, looks like this. It's my main color. It has 58% of baby alpaca, 14% of superwash merino fine wool, and 28% of polyamide. I have checked Drops Air, and the composition is like similar. And I decided to hold it with a strand of silk mohair. That's how it looks. Also, I needed to have 3 more different colors, and I decided to go like directly into pink. The sweater is called Stitches sweater. Like every knitter knows what stitches mean, and this is how far I have got with this one. I am making mine in size S. So here is such a nice pink, like Barbie pink shade. Then it's raspberry sorbet yarn. Then is terracotta, and then they repeat a bit. I'm almost done with the color work part. Then I will move to the stockinette. The collar, you see, was made on 3.5mm needles with a twisted ribbon for the knit stitches. Here is like a stockinette, and then we will move also to the stockinette part. The stockinette is made on 5mm needles, and the color work I switched to 5.5mm needles. I did my best to not have any tension issues with this one, as the yarn itself is like very light, and it's very easy to lose the proper tension, so I was always changing the length of the needles to make sure that everything works as needed. While I was trying to select some colors, the hardest thing for me was to select the proper mohair shade for my yarn. And in result, so I selected like the matching colors, like the main colors, the thicker version, it's Gazal Alpaca Air, and then I was trying to select the proper shade of mohairs. And that's extremely hard when you have for the main color like different shades of pink, and then you should find some proper silk mohair shade matching them, not to make these main colors like dyed, you know, into some different shade of pink, because you need them like this, just a bit elevated using the silk and mohair. So in result, I got different shades of mohairs that were recommended by the store where I found these yarns. I asked them to share some pictures and to help me with mohairs selection. I received one of Filamo, it's a Ukrainian brand of silk mohair. Probably it's Mondial Kid Silk, like an more expensive version. So Ukrainian brand price was like $5 per ball per 25 grams, like a regular length and a regular weight for the silk mohair yarn. And this pricier option was like $7 or $8 cost, but I bought only like 2 balls of it per each shade. In result, the more expensive silk mohair was a bit softer comparing to the cheaper version, but in the final garment I cannot feel the difference at all. But you can see it here. So for this Barbie pink, I have used like more expensive version of silk mohair, and it has very noticeable thread of silk that is white, and it just colors my Barbie pink and adds some marbling to it that I didn't want to get there. Same issue with terracotta, but there it's not so noticeable. Happily for the main color, I decided to go, as I needed a bigger amount of it, I decided to buy a cheaper version of silk mohair, and it's like fine. It looks great. It was like mixed properly with the main color and it works well. Raspberry sorbet shades, it's fine. One more interesting thing that I noticed while color selection, I have ordered like all of them together, like a pack of yarn, and when I received it, I saw that the lighter shades of this yarn has smaller balls comparing to the darker shades. So you can see, I will add a photo where you can see that this main color light pink shade ball is much smaller comparing to terracotta, for example. It was like the biggest difference between them. I also saw in some reviews that Drops Air has like same issue for their yarn, even like it looks like a bit different weight, but on the marking, on the label, you see that's like it's the same yarn but with different shades. Such an interesting observation that I wanted to share with you as well. So this is it for the stitches sweater I'm working on, and we will move to the next one. You may remember from the previous episodes that I was going, from my winter knitting plans video, that I was going to make a Berlin scarf, and I have even bought a yarn for it. It's a merino cashmere blend yarn. I have already transferred it into such balls. It's boucle yarn on a nylon thread, but it's like a tiny boucles. That's why I hold it in 6 strands to make the Berlin scarf, because for the Berlin scarf you need decay weight yarn, and it is made. Recommended yarn for the Berlin scarf is alpaca by Sandnesgarn, I think. Decay weight yarn with 100% alpaca, but I wanted mine to be as soft as possible, so I switched to a merino cashmere boucle yarn, and I'm happy with how it looks right now. I think it's quite similar to the designer idea. I started this one as part of Knit Alone, started by Amy from Mimi's Knitting Podcast YouTube, here on YouTube, and it like inspired and motivated me to finally start my Berlin scarf. I will add some details about the knit along. Maybe you will be able to join it as well. That's very fun to share some progress photos with other knitters, of course. Yeah, I think currently I already have like the third part needed for the scarf itself. It is made on 7mm needles, and then with a provisional cast on the beginning. Maybe my gauge is a bit looser than needed, than is called in the pattern itself, but I am fine with how with it is and how it looks. Just it doesn't bother me at all, because still I believe that this one will look much better when it will be finished and blocked properly. The expected positive is 20 centimeters longer after blocking, so I expect it to grow a lot, and as I am tall, this one should be like probably as me. So I'm extremely happy with the opportunity to create this design finally and to be able to wear it as soon as possible. And this was it for all the works in progress that I currently have. And I have one more acquisition / plan to share with you today. One of my friend's daughter is becoming 1 year like during this week, and I proposed her to make for her first birthday knitted dress by Knitting for Olive. It's called Tiny Tulips dress. The suggested yarn is of course Knitting for Olive merino wool yarn, but it's a bit harder to get it to Ukraine, so I was selecting some baby merino to not be itchy and extremely soft to be used with it. And I am making my Moby Slipover using the same yarn, and it's very soft, and I think it will work well for the baby knit. So that's what I ordered. It's a Cartopolana merino yarn, sport weight. It's 100% superwash merino wool in such a peach light pink color. I even made a tiny little swatch for this one on 3mm needles. That's the requested millimeter needles for the pattern. I had to check it because as it's superwash merino wool, it will grow after blocking, of course, and for the baby needs it may be a problem because we are moving to spring soon, and I want her to be able to wear this dress, of course, before growing up a lot until autumn, when she will be able to wear the dress again. So that's the plan, and that will be my first baby knit, like closing baby knit, by following the pattern, and I'm very excited about this one to try how it works. Maybe I will be able to make some little cardigan for a baby girl, or a matching sweater or cardigan for her mom. We will see, but I'm really excited about this opportunity to try something new in such direction. So stay tuned for seeing more details about some baby knits that are coming on my channel. And this was it for today. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Do not forget to follow, to leave your like, to comment the video, to support all the activity and experience I share here. I will be happy to see you in the next video podcast. See you. Bye bye.